In this tutorial, we're going to cover how to do enemy movements. So we're going to cover 3 different types of enemy movements. The first type is like an enemy on patrol walking from left to right, so it just keeps walking back and forth. Another type could be like a flying creature where it flies across the screen and randomly appears again, flies across the screen, so just keep appearing from the left side and fly to the right side. And a third type will be the enemy's following character. So if you're walking around and the character gets in close enough range, the enemy will start coming after you. So we'll cover those type of 3 motions in here. To do that, I started with a bat. So over here I have a bat drawn, like a one-eyed kind of bat. We're going to need another direction also, so let me duplicate that. So I have 2, and then I'm going to go edit this one, transform, mirror flip, apply it to all of them horizontally, and so now the bat's facing the other direction, check mark. We'll call this one bat right because he's going in the right direction. So this one will be bat going in the left direction. So I might as well call it that also. Alright, so now I have already made the bat object. I've already assigned the bat to there. So to code the bat, it should be pretty simple. One of the main things to work with the patrolling option, where the enemies basically turn left and right, is that you simply just go to create, add on creation, and on creation you want to start moving in a direction. Let's say we'll go the right direction, and you can set the speed to whatever you want. Let's say he's moving at a speed of 3. So he's moving at a speed of 3 in the right direction. And so what this option does, instead of jump to position, this will start him moving and nothing's going to stop him basically. He's just going to keep moving. He doesn't need to keep jumping and pressing positions. It's very similar to set velocity. He's just going to start moving in that direction. So the next thing is we need to basically tell him to stop moving eventually. So we're going to make one more sprite. In this case, I'm just going to make it this one called I don't know, marker, edit sprite, make a new one, 32 is fine, open it up, we'll bucket fill with yellow. So that's my marker, this yellow object. Press OK, OK, OK. And I do need to make that an object so I can actually drop it into the level. And this one, I'm not going to worry about collision at the moment, I'm just going to assign it the marker color and call it marker. Alright, this one's not going to be visible. We don't actually want to see the marker. If we just wanted to appear or basically mark his territory of where he can actually walk. So press OK. And so now we say collision. On collision with the marker, we want him to go over here and reverse direction. Actually, yeah. It should be, let me double check this. Yeah, depending on which one you want, you could do reverse vertical or reverse horizontal. So I'm going to do reverse horizontal because I'm going to have my bat flying left and right. You could do this also vertical. So press OK. So what happens here is he starts moving to the right direction, and then when he hits the marker, he's going to reverse direction. So the bat's pretty much done for this one. I'm going to switch left to right because he's going to start moving in the right direction. And let's go to the room. So in the room that we were working on last time, we'll start with the marker. I'll put a yellow marker there and a yellow marker there. And I'll put the bat right in the middle. And so now the bat will keep flying and have when he collides with the yellow marker, he'll bounce back. So let's press play and see what happens. Boom. So the bat is reversing back and forth. We want to switch out the sprites each time, but as you can see, he's bouncing between the 2 markers. So let's go back to the bat, and let's see. When he creates, on creation, he's going to start moving in a direction, and then when he hits the marker is going to reverse horizontal direction. So let's go to control, no, sprite. So actually, before we change the sprite, let's go over to control and we'll jump into put a variable in here. So, wrong spot. We need to make a step event, add a step. Alright, so in the step we're going to add in variable if the h speed is larger than 0. Alright, so on creation will start moving and markers reverse him, but every step of the way is going to check if his h speed is larger than 0. Press OK. We're going to have him change sprite to right. So larger than 0 means he's moving in a positive direction, which is to the right. So he should have a right motion. And let's do a speed of like 0.25, so he's slower. And we'll do image index for animation. Alright, so back to control, this would be an else. So if it's not larger than 0, which means it's smaller than 0, which means he's going negative, and if he's going negative, that's going to be the left direction, so change him to the left, add again 0.25 speed and image index, and press OK. Alright, so if he's larger than 0, he's moving right, otherwise he's moving to the left. So we press play on that, and we've adjusted his, we got collision issues there. Let's go play with the collision. So we'll modify mask, and we'll just do full image rectangle to make this easier on us, so I don't have to go spend any time to go play with all that. To save you time in the tutorial also, we'll just do rectangle, full image, so we don't have to worry about that. So now he definitely won't, bounce into the walls, or get stuck in there. Alright, so we have our bat, and he's bouncing between 2 points. So really simple. So we can walk the character around, we can do whatever we want, we can have him jump or whatever. And right now we haven't coded attacks yet, this is just making a move. So we can move left and right between 2 points. If I go to the room, I can always readjust these marker points, delete that, and drop in a new one a little farther apart. So now if I press play, he'll fly further before he starts bouncing back. And so it's just a simple reversing direction of the sprite and figuring out which direction it's going to change his image. Alright, so that's option 1 if you wanted to make him move left and right between 2 points. Option 2, let's go with, I guess we'll go flying. This one's a little more complicated. So what's going to happen is the bat's going to fly across the room at creating from the left side across the right side and getting recreated on the left side. So to do that, I'm going to make a new object so I don't use the same code from the other guy. We're going to call this bat flying. We're going to use the same bat image, and I'm going to pick the right one, so it's going to start on the right. And for the bat flying option, we're going to have him, let's see, on creation, let's see, start moving in the right direction, and we'll put a speed of, I don't know, let's make this guy go pretty fast, so we'll go to speed of 5. So he's going to start moving, and he's not going to stop moving at a speed of 5, he's going to keep moving the entire time. So what we want to do is check whether he's what he's doing every step of the way. So for step, we're going to put step on there, and we're going to go over to check if test expression. So in the test expression, there's multiple ways we can write this. We're going to say if the x, which is his left and right, not the y, which is up and down, but the x, so left and right, if the left and right is greater than view underscore x view, this is basically meaning is that the view, so when we set the camera in the room, what the view is. So if you move the character further right and your view following the camera moves with them, and so it's going to look at the size of your view screen instead of like an actual coordinate on your grid, which 0, 0 will be up in the top left. We want to have where is the character in this big room that he's in. So it's going to follow his view, but we also want to increase and add to view plus a W view, which is the width of the view. So it's going to take and add more or less, let's say, if your character is like 100 pixels inwards to the right side of the screen, it'll add in the 100 and then add in the window length. So if your window is, let's say, 100 pixels wide, so you can see 100 pixels, but he's already 100 in, it'll add the two together, so it'll be 200. So at 200 pixels, something's going to happen, basically meaning off screen. So we want to know how big is their window and where exactly in the room is he. So if X is greater than both of those together, so he's off screen, he's not just going to disappear in the middle of your screen. If he's off screen, we'll press OK, and now we're going to do something. So we'll put in the blocks, so do this if this happens, and we're going to go to Move, Jump to Position, and we're going to jump him to position, and this also is a little tricky, I guess. We want the X to be View, X view, and depending on what you want to pick is how big your spread's going to be. I'm going to say also minus 60 pixels. So this definitely means it's off the screen. If you just do X or view X view, assuming this is my window and this is all I could see, he'll pop in right at the edge of the screen. So if I have minus 60, he'll pop in over here before he comes in the screen. If you want to switch this out and not do an X view option, you could have them set to pop in an exact. Let's say your room is 1,000 pixels long, you could say reappear at 100 pixels, and then it'll keep going. But if your character is standing at 100 pixels, you'll see him reappear at that instance. This is saying appear off screen because it's looking at the view, so view X view. There's also view Y view, but we're doing X view right now. So for the Y is the height. We could say view Y view, and it could pop in anywhere. But we'll do, not W. We need view, Y view, plus, and if you wanted to be popping on the screen randomly, you can do two different options. We could do, let's say, random 80. So this will be a random height of 80 pixels. So anywhere between 0 and 80, he'll pop in the screen. So the Y view, so if you're 1,000 pixels down in the screen, it'll add 1,000 pixels to it, so it'll appear on your screen and not just anywhere on the map, plus randomly 80 pixels somewhere on your window that you're looking through. If you wanted them to pop in the screen somewhere at a preset location and not just wherever you are in the level, you would just omit that part and just say where exactly in the room. So let's try that. So let's take this new bat and put him in the room. This is bat flying, and I'll drop him here. And so we'll press play. So, on creation, this bat will fly in, and now he popped in over here. So as soon as his view X view is off the screen, he'll pop in somewhere else, and see as a different location, different height now, because we made it random 0 and 80. So within 80 different pixels, he can pop in at any different height. However, 80 isn't very much space to give him. The screen is somewhere around 400 pixels. So he could pop, you're not going to get much random options. So let's say we go into bat flying. Actually, let's check the room size. The room size is a height of 480. So let's give him the full room. So bat flying, we'll say random 480 and press OK. And then we press play on that now. And so now this bat can pop in anywhere. So we can be up here, and maybe he'll pop in down here the next time, or maybe in the middle. Or he can pop in somewhere around this area again also. Now he's a little bit lower this time. And he seems to keep wanting to pop in this area, but he should jump up and down to multiple different areas. Okay, so now here he goes. He pops down somewhere at the bottom. So it's just kind of randomly, now he's popping in down here. So it's going to be a random point wherever he pops into the screen based on the 480 at this point. If you did more, he could pop in off screen down here, but we want him to pop in somewhere on the screen. Another option, instead of just saying anywhere on the screen, this way, let's say you don't want it to be too high floating through your menu system or too low going through the ground, like right here he's cutting off part of the screen. We could set the range he's going to pop into the screen. So if you wanted to do that, we'll click on the jump to position where it's going to jump into the room, and instead of saying just a random where it's going to pop in, this would be an I random. Well, not just random, but a random range. So whereas before random 480, now it's I random range or underscore range, and now you can pick a range of what you want them to. So a minimum to maximum number. So in this case, let's say we don't want it to be at the very top of the screen. Let's start at 80 and comma, but we don't want it to be at the very bottom, so let's limit it to 360. So 360 is about 120 pixels up from the bottom, so he's not going to fly through the floor, and 80 down from the ceiling, so he's not going to fly too far into the menu system. And you can change these numbers. The only difference is it's I random range, and you pick the range instead of just random and set one number. So let's press OK on that and see what happens now. I should probably slow his speed down also. So we randomly picked in around the same height again. Next time he's down lower, but he's not going to be able to go any lower than that. That looks like it's probably going to be the lowest he's going to get because we picked a random range that prevented him from getting too low. Probably should have done faster speed so we can pop in more frequently. Let's try that. So on creation, let's also fix his sprite speed. Change sprite to right, image index speed of 0.25. So that's going to fix the sprite motion. And let's change that to like 12. So it'll be a really fast bat. And press play. So this bat will fly really fast, giving us the option to see his where he's going to pop in. So it's a bunch of random heights what he's going to fly into. In this case, he's not. You can limit where he's going to fly into the floor by just picking a different height. So no matter where I'm walking, he's going to constantly be flying at different rates, and I could use the sword or whatever to knock him down. So we have so far the fly within a patrol area or just appear randomly on the screen. If you destroy him, he'll stop appearing on the screen, but you can also program that to say, if destroyed, recreate or respawn randomly here, or maybe wait a couple seconds, then respawn. This way he's constantly coming across the screen. You're constantly having targets to come at you until you clear, let's say, a certain part of the level, and when you're out of that part of the level, then they won't follow you or they won't appear anymore. So there's a couple of different options, but that's 2 so far. And then let's go with option 3. We're going to have the end of the bat actually chase you instead. Let's slow that down just a little bit since we don't need to watch him anymore. So press OK on that, and we'll make one more. We'll call this bat following, and we'll give it the right sprite as well. Alright, so on the bat following option, we want to make sure the bat comes after you. To do this one, all we should need is just the step event. So we'll go with step, and we're going to check to see if an expression is true. So it's the same thing again, and we're going to type something in. So this is as close as we're usually going to stick to coding, just typing in manual lines right here that we don't have available on the buttons. So we're going to say distance underscore to underscore object, and this is the name of your object. So whatever you call them, I have character underscore left with a capital C and a capital L. So make sure you spell everything the exact same way that it appears. Character underscore left and parenthesis. So distance to object, character left is the name of the sprite that we're using, or the name of the object we're using. So character left, and we're going to say for character left, we want this to be less than 200. So if the distance to the object is less than character left, or is less than the distance to character left is less than 200. So if this enemy, this creature, this bat, is less than 200 pixels away from your character, press OK. Then what are we going to do? Then we're going to say under movement, move. We have two options: move towards and step avoiding. We could use step towards because it's a bat that it can fly anywhere, so it doesn't have to worry about what it's going to walk through. Or in this case, step avoiding will avoid walls. So if you wanted to make sure your character would walk around a wall, you would do step avoiding. So it would avoid walking through things that it shouldn't walk through. It has to find a way around that point. So we're going to put step avoiding. Not that we have anything to avoid at the moment anyway. So under step avoiding, we want to make sure that we tell it what to go to. So the X and Y is going to be, where's the character? So character underscore left, and this is the name of your character. So it's not necessarily what I type right here. It's going to be what you called your object character. So character left, I'll copy that and Control V, character.y. So the character is X position, the character is Y position. So wherever your guy is on the screen, that guy's X and that guy's Y. So not the bat's XY, which was 0, 0, is saying where's the character's X and character's Y, go after that position. And you can set your speed. We'll do a speed of 1 so we can outrun them. And avoid solids. So there's other options, all instances, or just solids only, so I'll just leave with solids. So it goes over the character's XY, a speed of 1, and avoid solids to do so. We'll press OK, and that should be it for this one. So let's go to the room and drop in the bat following. And we'll put him, I'll drop him right there, and press play. So when I'm walking around, this guy's patrolling, this guy's randomly flying anywhere, and he's just going to hover right here. And if I get close enough, you'll see he starts coming after me, but if I get far enough away, he stops chasing me. So if I walk away again, he stops chasing. So you have a range, and so that 200 that I picked is 200 pixels, which that's about 200 pixel distance that he'll stop coming towards me. And if I go past him, and again create a 200 pixel gap, he'll stop following again. So again, we can, just like this guy, set which direction is going to look based on what its velocity is, or we could guess and test if the character's X is less than the bat's, then, in other words, if his X is less than the bat's, so his X is probably around 100 right now and his is 300, then show the left-facing sprite. If the character's X is greater than the bat's, which in this case he's probably sitting around 800 and he's probably sitting around 350, so it's greater, then show the right sprite. So that's one way of doing that also. But as you can see, he starts following if we get close enough to here and far enough away. Okay, so let's go and code that in real quick. So we got the bat following, and so we have him stepping towards, but let's go add in test expression. So in this case, actually I already think I copied that. If character left is, or dot x, if the character's x is greater than x, which is the bat's x, because if you put the dot x, that's referring to what object's x. It's like an external object, where just the regular x is referring to the object you're currently on. So xy is object here, dot x is something else's x. So character's x is, if the character's x is greater than x, which means he's further to the right, then we'll go to change sprite to the left, because if the character's x is greater than the bat's x, then the character is, wait, no, this should be right. If the character is x is greater than the bat's, that means the bat needs to face right to catch him. So we'll do image index speed of 0.25. Okay, and then otherwise we're just going to reverse that. So I can probably just copy this whole section. Copy. I'll probably just paste it here too. Paste. So I can change either option now. So we'll switch this one. If the character's x is, in this case, less than x, so he's on the left side of the bat. If his x is less than x, then switch to bat going to the left direction. Press OK, and let's see what that does this time. So now that character's x is less than his x, basically 0 is starting right here, and this is 1,000 over here. So his x is less than the bat's. The bat faces this direction. But as soon as character's x is greater than the bat's x, he switches that direction. So he'll keep changing directions wherever you are. So now we have 3 different types of movements. So he's over here, and he'll follow him up to a point until you get far enough away. You can change that number. This one's just randomly appearing and flying across the screen, and this one's setting on a patrol. So the patrol option could be a guy on the edge of a cliff so he doesn't fall off the cliff. You just set the invisible markers somewhere on the platform, and he'll just keep patrolling left and right. This guy could be, I don't know, a big bad guy that will come after you to a certain point. Again, you could put markers and tell him to stop at marker points. And this one over here, I don't know, maybe you have a bunch of these guys flying in at one point and you just wanted to take him out and then it'll stop or something. So 3 different options. And so that should cover how to make the enemy movements.